Welcome to the South Cobb Business Association podcast. Thank you for listening. However you're listening, whatever platform, we're grateful that you are streaming today's podcast. We want to give special thanks to Word of Faith and the Riverside Epicenter for providing a wonderful podcast studio where we can deliver this special interview today. Today, my guest is Dr. Richard Block. He's a retired physician, and he leads Block Business Development. He has a long history with South Cobb Business Association, so I'm so grateful that he could be a part today. Dr. Block, thank you for being a part.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, since you've been involved with South Cobb Business Association for a while now, I've known you for a number of years. You're known very well respected in this community. Can you shed light on the history of South Cobb Business Association?
Absolutely. Well, I've been on the board since 2010, and I was president of the organization in 17 and co-president in 18. And I've been helping ever since then with the incoming presidents and all of that. But the history of SCBA begins almost 40 years ago. And in the 1980s, the first name of the organization was called the Mableton Business Association. In 1985, it was incorporated under that name. For the next 14 years or so, 13 years, that's what it went under. And in 1998, it was a name change, and it became the South Cobb Business Association. But it first started out in 1985, and a little bit before that, with the former Governor Barnes and Ford Thigpen's Seniors was also involved in it. And they created, among other business leaders at that, but businessmen got together and formed this group. Even before it became Mableton Business Association, they got together and met on a fairly often. They met and to discuss business issues. And then again, they were incorporated in 85, and in 1998 it became South Cobb Business Association officially.
Nice. So out of this time of your tenure being on the board and being involved and even being president and co-president, what is the best accomplishment, the most proudest accomplishment that you would say from your time?
Oh, there were two big ones.
Okay, tell me about them.
Without a doubt. And this all had to do with Wayne Dodd.
Yeah.
Who has been president of our organization 7 times over all these years, as he's proud of saying, and rightly so. But he created the October Haunt with Six Flags over Georgia.
Yes.
That event in itself, which ran for 10 years, was what put SCBA on the map. Even though we had ultimately 22 business associations and chambers involved in it at the height of it. It was a great event that we would have in October, obviously the October Haunt. That was great because businesses had the opportunity to have tables and tents, and there were rides open, and it was a great event, but it put SCBA on the map for all intents and purposes. And the other part of that is that we were the first business association who recognized the police. And so even before public safety, which we had the luncheon last week,
right,
even before that became something that all the business associations did, we were the first to recognize the police. And we would bring them food, and I was part of that in my tenure of being, I was part of bringing food to say, and it was even before it became Precinct 2, we would be involved in that. So those were two very big things that we did, but the October Haunt was probably the biggest that we did during that time. Now, did we have events that beyond that within our scope? Beyond the lunches, we had lunch and learns, and we had the Women's Council, and I put it, and you know this because we did it last year, a Men's Council as well. Those are great things we had. In my years, we had after hours every month.
Right.
And so they were good. But the two biggest accomplishments, the two biggest things, and Wayne Dodd is to be congratulated for that, was the October Haunt, and again, what we did with the police.
Awesome. What practical advice do you have for business owners who are part of the South Cobb Business Association family?
Well, my advice always is to get involved. Come to the things we create. Come to our luncheons. Come to any other events that we might put together. For them, it's important because they get seen and they get known, right? It takes 7 times before your face and your business are put together in people's minds, for all intents and purposes. So come and participate. The other thing is, if there are committees, and there are committees that we create, get involved. And if you want to go to the executive level, then you need to be seen. So let's say you became a membership, you got on membership, seeing that you did a great job on that pushes you up potentially in the hierarchy.
Right.
And you get known and get seen. So I think that from a practical standpoint, for our business owners to be involved in the things that SCBA does and will do. Probably my best advice.
Awesome. What do you see as the biggest opportunity for business owners in South Cobb business?
Well, let's first describe what South Cobb is.
Right.
South Cobb is Austell, right, Mableton, Powder Springs, South Marietta, and parts of Smyrna. That's South Cobb.
Right.
That was the district that Ms. Sheffield has now, and that Chairwoman Lisa Cupid represented. So each of those have now, with Mableton becoming a city, each has their economic development departments, and for all intents and purposes, finding out through us, if we do those kinds of luncheons that would bring in all the economic development folks, that's a great opportunity for our members to find out what's being built, what's being planned. That way they can create their marketing plans, and if you're a new company, their business plan and marketing plans going forward within the next year to 5-year plans that you're going to do, because you understand what's being built, what's being created, where they're being created, and be involved in every ribbon cutting you can be involved in, because you never know how it's going to affect your business.
That's awesome. Anything else you want to add for all of our listeners?
No, again, South Cobb Business Association is the oldest of our business association. I like to say it's the most vintage, and we've done a lot in these 40 years that we've been around. So if those listeners out there who want to be part of us, come to our luncheons, come to our events that we do, get to meet people, get to network. People always come. There are two very important aspects in being part of an organization like ours. One is networking, and the other is to learn. And coming to the things we create, whether it's the luncheons or other events we do, give business owners an opportunity to do both.
Awesome. Dr. Block, thank you for being a part today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Everyone, thank you for listening today. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our future podcasts and interviews. And as you heard today, get involved. If you would like to be one of our banner sponsors, you can go to our website and sign up for that as well. And we want to thank our different banner sponsors, especially, of course, Block Business and Development, Wellstar, Mableton Improvement Coalition, Westside Bank, and all of our wonderful sponsors. And special thanks to Word of Faith and Riverside Epicenter for providing this podcast studio for us today. Thank you all. Remember, South Cobb is open for business. Let's prosper together. See you next time. Cool.
I wrote